Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming on a Monday morning where everyone's busy with classes and we're almost done with the semester. My name is Rita, and I'm an assistant professor of marketing at Dr. Sam Pak College of Business. And today I'm going to present an assignment I developed over the last year, ever since AI has been the rage since 2023. So this assignment is kind of like like that. So there's a lot of mini assignments that build up to a capstone, basically a capstone assignment that teach students how to use an AI image generator in a marketing context, for marketing context. So this is for a brand management class. But I think if you are in communication or any kind of classes that focus on visuals, you can also perhaps consider using AI image generators, specifically for students to learn how to generate images with AI. So this is why the title says mini branding labs. So that's basically for the throughout semester, students will do like several mini assignments, and then it will culminate into the final assignment, which is the brand analysis and generative AI. Okay, so just an introduction. So this teaching innovation combines a series of mini branding labs with a final brand analysis and generative AI assignment. Now, this assignment is designed to move students from passive understanding of branding concepts to active strategic brand thinking using AI as a tool and not as a shortcut. Okay, so just a little bit of the backgrounds. So over the past few years, we've heard a lot about the rise of generative AI, specifically in marketing and advertising. Now, there's a rapid adoption of generative AI tools in marketing, with AI being used for ad visuals, campaign concepts, content creation and copywriting, rapid prototyping of some type of creative ideas, and also personalization at scale. So like, for example, consumers or you probably see an ad that probably generated by AI because you're a specific target market. And most of the brands have started using AI, including Levi's, Gucci, H&M, Mango, Coca-Cola. So all the very prominent brands are using AI, specifically AI for images. However, students are lacking the structured opportunities to connect AI with branding. So they've heard a lot about, oh, brands are using AI, but what exactly can they as marketing students use it for? So this is a teaching problem that arises because of the rise of generative AI. So in terms of branding classes specifically, usually students learn branding concepts very passively. It is one of the most conceptually rich areas of marketing, but it's also one of the most abstract for students. Like, students know what branding is, but they don't quite understand how exactly can they make a brand, or how can they actually visually represent a brand. There's also a gap between analysis and execution. So students will learn a lot of theoretical frameworks like segmentation or positioning and brand identity, but it's mainly through lectures or case discussions, which is good, but it's also make it very vague for them to understand branding. There's also a lot of unstructured AI used by students. So you may have noticed over the last few years, students will start using ChatGPT, but there's actually no structured use for them because there's no guidance on how to use AI. And now that there's also AI image generators, students know that generative AI use are widely used in marketing practice, but they often lack the guidance on how to actually use AI with a structure or with a goal or intention in mind, and how they can use it intentionally. So the instructional objectives for this teaching innovation is that we want to strengthen the application to core branding concepts like what is brand personality, or what is segmentation or targeting framework, or what is brand storytelling. And we try to bridge the branding analysis and creative execution by teaching students how to use AI with an applied method. We also try to teach students to develop strategic and response use of generative AI, and also try to increase student engagement through experiential or low-stakes practices. So the students that feel that, like, because they have about 10 different mini branding labs, so they start to get familiar with AI, but it's quite low stake compared to like the final project, where it's basically like half the grade, for example. Okay, so there are two parts for this teaching innovation. First is the mini branding labs, which is a series of short, low-stakes experiential exercise embedded throughout the course. So every single module, they have one mini branding lab. So they will learn the concept, but they also have to apply it using AI as well. And then the second part would be the brand analysis and generative AI. And it's basically a capstone project that synthesizes branding analysis and AI-supported execution. Now, the key here is that all the branding concepts and strategy have to come first. We mean that students have to understand the concepts, and they have to apply it using AI. And AI is only introduced only after the students have articulated clear branding concept. They have been able to articulate what exactly is strategy they want to visualize here. Okay, so for the first part, again, so this is like a short recurring exercises with weekly branding topics, including segmentation and targeting, or brand identity, or co-branding and brand revitalization. In each of the lab, students will be provided a list of brands approved for the project. I'll give them about 15 different brands they can choose for that week. And then they have to generate about 1 to 3 AI-generated ads based on the weekly prompt or topic. The AI tool used for this course I used was Kling AI. The only reason I use this Kling AI is because I'm using it for my research as well, so that's what I'm most familiar with. But there are also other AI image generators, including Gemini and also Grok, I think. But this one I found to be the highest quality, so the students feel that they are generating something useful that they can use for their portfolio, for example. And then they need to write a short 200 to 300 word reflection explaining how their AI-generated visuals express the intended brand strategy. Now, the purpose of each lab is for them to practice and experiment. So they get also provided like an AI cheat sheet so that they can understand how do you develop a prompt, what they need to include in the prompt to make sure it's detailed enough to create a visual. And then basically the AI prompt cheat sheet will help them get started so that they don't feel too intimidated with using AI. So this is one example of the mini branding lab. So for this week, they will have to learn about brand storytelling. And the objective for the lab here is to develop a visual coherence and narrative continuity across multiple ads for a very specific brand. So the prompt for this mini branding lab was that they have to select a brand, again from a approved list of brands. And they have to create a two-part visual story using Kling AI. So for example, they can present a specific problem that the consumer encounter, and then the solution that a brand can provide. Or they can create a before and after ads for a brand, or some kind of aspiration that a consumer has and how the brand can fulfill it. And then the two ads should share consistent tone and aesthetic and brand voice. And here's one example of what students were able to generate. So they generated two ads to visual for Airbnb. And the first part is basically shows the consumer like dreaming about traveling the world, for example. And then the second part is basically the solution of fulfillment, how Airbnb can help consumers actually fulfill this dream of traveling the world. So this is one example of how students have been able to generate, using AI to generate images, using, tell a story with AI, basically. And then so after about 10 different mini branding labs, the student will actually do the final project, which is the brand analysis and generative AI. So for the first part of the brand analysis, they need to do a brand research and analysis where they have to, again, select a real-world brand, and then are required to include the following components. So they need to do research for a brand overview where they look at the history of the brand, what is the key product and services for the brand, and what is their current market position. And then they need to identify the brand's target market using the STP framework and basically to identify who is the target audience for this specific brand. And then they need to consider what is the brand's value proposition, like what exactly makes this brand distinct compared to other brands in the same product category in the market. And finally, they also need to consider what is the brand personality using a recognized framework. For this class, which is an MBA class, I use the Akers brand personality dimensions. And they also need to do a review of the brand's visual elements, compare, like analyzing the recent ad campaigns of the brand, and also look at the brand's tone and style, and also recurring design elements. And then the second part would be focused on the generative AI ad execution. Now, this is where students are also required to produce 2 creative briefs for the chosen brand, and also look at what is the campaign objective here, who is the target audience intended for this ad, and so what is the key ad message, and also what is the tone and style. So this part here is very similar to what they have practiced over the past 10 mini branding labs. They also work on their prompt development. They need to write very precise AI prompts, reflect the creative brief, and also the brand style that they have chosen. And also to provide structure for students in prompt development, they also use the AI prompt cheat sheet. And for the ad production, they will then use the same Kling AI generator to produce 2 different ads according to their creative briefs. And the third part is also a critical evaluation part. So this is where students actually reflect on what they have worked on over the whole semester. So they try to compare the 2 AI-generated ads against their own brand analysis and also their creative brief. So for the critical evaluation, they will look at how exactly are the ads, their own ads aligned with the brand identity and positioning. Is it also coherent with the brand's current advertising style? Is there any kind of emotional resonance? And also how clear it is that the ad message they want to communicate? And also is the cultural relevance and inclusivity that can be communicated through these AI-generated ads. And they also look at what kind of limitation and risk of using AI for print ad creation in established brands. So having looked at the student discussion and also what the student write for this part, I'm glad to see that they can see that they can't just basically tell AI, please make me an ad for Coca-Cola, and then oh, something amazing will come out of it. They actually have to be very detailed on the prompt. They have to be very intentional on what they try to communicate in order to create the ad that they want. And then based on student feedback, so after that, I also asked students to give some feedback on this assignment. So the first time I taught this assignment was an MBA student, a brand management class. So based on the strengths the student highlighted, so they really appreciate how much these kind of mini branding labs actually help them understand branding concepts. And also they like the creative application of the learned concept with AI. And also they feel that this is quite a transferable skill, especially for interviews that ask them if they have experience with AI before. And the detailed cheat sheet also helps reduce intimidation with AI because for some reason, students have this fear that AI is magic, and it is not. Like they feel like, oh, like AI probably rule the world by now, or it is not. Like you still need some human input to actually generate something. In terms of some weaknesses, there's a lot more. They really want more low-stake mini branding labs to reduce intimidation with using AI, especially for undergraduate students. So I just started teaching this assignment for undergrad this semester. And I feel that for undergrads, they are a lot more intimidated compared to MBA for some reason. MBA are just more brave with experimenting, whereas for undergrads, they like to stick to like very similar to the current brand as possible, and they don't like to deviate. And also they would like additional tutorials to enhance the quality of AI-generated outputs. Some students ask, like, oh, can we do videos next? And I'm really like fearful of them trying to make it correctly with images. So I haven't reached the part about videos yet. And there are also challenges in terms of developing these teaching innovations. So as an instructor, you do need some experience with generative AI. And there's also some learning curve with prompting and tool selection. The main reason is that I noticed every single AI tool is based on a different data set. So all the outputs, some look very different depending on the generator you use. So depending on what you're familiar with, I think you can teach students using that specific tool. Also, managing students' use of generative AI has been interesting. So students can be very over-reliant on AI, again, because they think it's magic. So they can be over-reliant on it and just don't develop very detailed prompts. So like, for example, like one student on the brand personality module, their prompt was basically give me an exciting Nike ad, and that was it. There was no prompt about who the model should be, what is the brand message, what is the tone, what is the visual element. And there's also a lot of time required for course redesign if you want to adapt to AI. So it took me, I think the whole summer just to develop the mini branding labs and make sure it's aligned with different modules. So the initial setup can be time intensive, but over time, I think you can adapt quite quickly because you can just modify different prompts or modify different topics. And also keeping up with rapidly evolving AI tools will also require a lot of flexibility for each semester. Like right now, I still don't know what AI is going to look like for next semester, next year, because it's developed very quickly. But there's also a lot of opportunities for adaptability across courses and levels. So I've taught it for both undergrad and graduate brand management. I have done it for as a discussion topic for my intro to marketing class. Also, shorter exercise or discussion activity can also be very helpful depending on the class. So for advertising or integrated marketing communications or digital marketing can also use this teaching innovation. Future expansion, as I've mentioned, is video-based AI tools. But I think that's very ambitious because I want to just control it. Just in terms of 2D images is already very difficult. But basically, the ambition is that I want to expand it to more creative application like videos. And that's it from my side.